Peace, peace. Happy now. Now's a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Important message to remember that we're always constantly growing and cycling through energies. Like even with me connecting with this Papa Legba energy, realizing that, that energy, what I'm saying, that I resonate with is constantly transforming itself. You know what I'm saying? It's not staying stagnant. We're not staying stagnant in old belief systems. And I done spoke to this before, like where even some things from the ancestors, you know, are gonna be changed. We're not gonna be operating the same exact way the ancestors did in their times. Again, some things will be, used and borrowed because it's relevant to our now. But then some things are just old systems or old conscious ideas that need to be, left behind and or should I say transmuted and evolved into something different. That's the whole thing about our growth, is remembering like, hey, you remember you signed up to constantly change. You signed up to constantly evolve. You signed up knowing that, hey, you're going to be cycling through different energies and all those past lives of, and again, it's all right for us, again, connecting with that Legba energy. For me, myself, I can only speak for myself of what my soul resonate with, and knowing like, all right, I am, for the most part, connected with that energy very strongly, you know what I'm saying? To the point of feeling like I'm that energy, but regardless, it's like, it has to evolve, regardless of like it being connected to, old beliefs, old pantheons of, spiritual practices, things of this nature. Everything is constantly evolving, everything constantly moving, constantly cycling through everything. Matter of fact, that's also in the principles of, the Hermetic principles, laws of Jehudi. Everything cycles, everything changes. And it's about us being, adaptable, like that water, being able to adapt. Because another thing too, not being rigid in, belief systems. If somebody came and told me right now, as much as I joke and clown about like, Jesus being fake, as far as like the character that Constantine made, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they had some information that came to me from my higher self saying, hey, that character is real and here's the evidence to prove so, then I'm gonna acknowledge that, you know what I'm saying? Because again, I gotta be nimble, like I gotta be able to have that adaptability, because that's what allows for us to grow. And you just look at it around the board, like people who want to be stagnant, they die with those stagnant ways. An old person that don't want to give up prescription pills right now is going to transition with that old ideal of taking that poison as a medicine, you know what I'm saying? So it's constantly refreshing our consciousness, pressing that reset button, in essence, constantly growing, because even, we use the analogy of, from a butterfly, from a caterpillar to butterfly, but, and even from that butterfly stage, there's going to be evolving that go on, and from that next stage is going to be an evolution, and from that, what I'm saying, like we constantly, and what happens is, those of us who get trapped and wanting to stay stagnant in the old energy, and remember, we traveling through different spheres of reality, and some of us may go through a sphere of reality and get comfortable with it and not want to continuously evolve and change, and that's perfectly, whatever you choose, that's what, what I'm saying, that's what you're going with, that's what you're dealing with as a soul, that's a part of your growth, but realizing again to constantly be evolving, and also remember that we're not going to know everything, and it's not for us to try to chase down the knowledge of everything. I had to experience that the hard way on my journey through a DMT trip, where it showed me how you could drive yourself crazy trying to be everything or know everything in this universe, you know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't be able to occupy. That's another thing, I made videos about that, like it's like the Aurora Boreas, with the snake chasing its tail, where, you got the bigger Godhead and the human aspect, incarnated as like, the tail. It's like a constant chase, like, like, or like, say, for instance, the snake do start swallowing its tail, it's never gonna come back around to start swallowing its own head. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna develop two heads. It only got one. So as it get, it come around, it can't really swallow itself in that, in that essence. And that's that same comparison, kind of like with Lucy, where, the moment she embodied that full, from the storyline of it, that full 100%, using all that God power, all that, brain capacity, kind of like Limitless, she disappeared. She went into the ethers and was everywhere. Why? Because, that energy in our bodysuit can't occupy that same space. Like, if we embody the fullness of all that is, that triple darkness, that void, then you will cease to be here on the physical level. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like again, that's why we uniquely on this experience for that reason. It's not for one of us to have the knowledge of all that is and walk around like we are the only one God. That's why, these certain aspects of the Christ energy and that one child being born, that's more so, again, a personification, the allegory of the Christ energy that raises up within us, and it raises up in more than one person. And and again, like when we talk about, God's chosen son or people, to some extent, there are certain beings that basically with the chosen people, just more so, meaning, again, that's not from an egotistical standpoint. It's just some beings have a stronger connection with this energy. And, when we say the word chosen, that doesn't mean everybody, you know what I'm saying? But again, that's not for somebody who, may be, within that energy or that realm to feel like they're superior than the next person because they have this connection. Because be real with you, that connection comes with somewhat of a, not say a burden, but, with that responsibility, or with those gifts and those powers, you have a certain responsibility and a certain level of accountability. So as much as, somebody will want to get jealous of that, or somebody will want to be superior about that, everything comes with its, its cause and effect, and its, it's accountability and responsibility level, you know what I'm saying? That's why some people enjoy being ignorant to all this information, you know what I'm saying? Because you do have the extent of ignorance being bliss. But, and that's the thing too, like with the food card being that blank slate, constantly learn. So again, back to not being rigid about holding on to certain information, when something else comes up, being fluid. But also, again, dealing with all these things in connection with your inner guidance, like let it be something that your inner being, intuition is guiding you to, and not something you're trying to forcefully deal with just because so-and-so had a video that said to deal with it. If so-and-so did have a video that said to deal with this energy or this book or whatever the case may be, let it be because it resonates with you before you, you know what I'm saying, and not just you doing it, like let it, like where you could feel intuitively that you was guided to that. So that's why, but again, constantly refreshing, constantly staying, nimble and able to grow, able to expand. Because when we get rigid in certain ideas, then we stay stagnant. And it, because again, I realized for myself, for my growth, having to constantly be aware of those energies, like, again, you won't know it all. And I spoke to that in a video because that's a certain archetype. Like, the system is set up to where, they know that it's a certain archetype of energy that's trying to know everything and want to know about its existence to the point of just trying to find like any little avenue to soak up information. And certain people know that and try to like anything, like a little trap, trap that got a carrot in it for a rabbit, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a trap to get you. And I spoke on that on the Alienation video, where the brethren, was looking for enlightenment, and he was trying to find any way or anything, and he was looking for a quick. That's another thing, enlightenment, and learning about ourselves is not a quick fix, So having to remind myself of that, and again, just for all of us, it's not a, it's a growth.